I'm going to inject a spiritual perspective into things, or more of an occult perspective into things. And I know that can be a big turnoff for some people. And I understand that because a lot of the time it comes off as cringe as fuck for me, and I scroll past it too. So if it bothers you, scroll past now. I'm not asking you to believe in something. I'm asking you to think logically about what I'm saying. For starters, if you've ever seen the movie Fight Club, and I know a lot of people use Tyler Durden as a very, not only cringe, but dangerous fucking symbol. But what I'm getting at here is, if you've ever seen that movie, you realize that there is a point in that movie when he realizes that him and Tyler Durden are the same person. Tyler Durden delivers this line to him like, "You needed something more out of your life. You could not have done that without me. You constructed me for this reason. I'm here. I did what you asked." That's an invocation, magically speaking. We are all doing that. And you don't have to know you're doing it. It can be completely unconscious. And we are a society that is increasingly interested in authenticity and not this performative shit. But the fact of the matter is, your very consciousness, by virtue of being raised in this society, cannot escape it. If you've ever enjoyed any piece of media in depth, and I would wager for most people it's significantly more than that, you're inundated with movies and video games and so on and so forth, you are an actor or an actress. You just don't know that's what you're doing. You are upholding a part. People, we don't like it. It's not people, it's me, it's everyone on this whole world. Because when you say people, it divorces you from the fact that you're involved. Every single person on this earth is trained to the perception that unpredictable people are dangerous. We like things to be predictable. You need to uphold a regular, consistent pattern of psychology and pathology. You need to be the same person day by day, or we don't know who we're talking to. The fact of the matter is, that's not the way most people are. You might be one of that select group of people who aren't like that, but the majority of people are like what I'm saying right now. You're different people day by day. The mood that you're in determines who you are. You're in this angry, violent mood? Well, then you've been possessed by Ares. This goes all the way back to the fucking Greek pantheon and before that. That's what all of this stuff is. The monotheistic religions just landed on one god who they wanted to invoke. It's an act. It's all a fucking act. We all feel the whole spiel of human emotions, the whole spectrum. But we're expected to act in a consistent way day by day because that's what seems to work. This is what is happening to everyone. You know, psychologically speaking, if you really had to get to the nitty-gritty and diagnose people, every single person that you meet has MPD. They might as well all have multiple personality disorder. It's a bit of a misnomer. You are a dozen different people, depending on what mood you are in. We're all doing this day by day, adopting the persona that best meets the needs of the situation. And we don't even have to be doing this consciously. It could seem like the path of least resistance and what makes most sense at the time. It could feel like what emotionally makes sense to you or what logically makes sense to you. It does not matter. You know, when you go to work, if you work like a customer service job, you have this voice that's very different from your own voice. It's usually up an octave. And you're like, "Hey, how are you? How are you doing? How can I help you?" And that sort of stuff. But suppose you were to pick up the phone one day and then all of a sudden you were talking to them like this. If you were talking to them like that, is that not you? Is that not also your voice? It's absolutely still your voice. They wouldn't know any different if they've never met you before. But they would be forced to assume this is the way this guy always is. It's only because you've been around someone long enough to see what their consistent thing is before you realize this is the way they are. We don't know each other. We know our most consistent persona. This is what Hollywood is. People don't realize it. Like the word Hollywood is named after the wood of the holly tree, which is what historically magical wands were made out of. Movie magic and so forth. This cinematic shit is all any of us are doing. You're an actor whether you like it or not. And I think a lot of people who fancy themselves actors or actresses who are in, to cinema or who are into theater or who are into even music, pop music and any of this sort of stuff that's conveying a message, they don't even, I think, some of the time realize what they're actually doing or what is available to them if they play their cards right. But the people in Hollywood, they damn sure do. I am convinced of that. I do believe that I don't necessarily subscribe to this idea that they're out there doing weird sacrifices and shit like this, but some of them surely do. I don't think it's like by and large they all are a part of this little in-group, but many of them are. Because it bakes something into the subconscious mind and it trips something in your fucking head like a tripwire that sends you into this direction where you start to become this thing. That's why you have this struggle, this trouble with method actors. That's why you have the Heath Ledgers of the world. That's why you have Jack Nicholson warning him like, I told him this was going to do it to him because he played the role of the Joker before. The Joker's become a bit of a cringe symbol now because it's overused. And that's really all it is because it's overused. The Joker is the Fool King. Modern day equivalent, and I saw a YouTube video about this recently, I think is Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan's not even good enough to point out that because he's not chaotic enough. You know, he's very understanding. He's playing a sort of different part. I don't even think many method actors are doing it on purpose. I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis does what he does on purpose. I think it's the simple fact that once he begins to read a character, he begins to identify things in his life that adds up, and he's convinced he's that guy. And a majority of the public does this when they watch anime, and when they play video games, and when they watch movies, and when they listen to music. It doesn't matter. It's all magic. It's magic because it changes the state of your conscious mind. It makes you do things you wouldn't normally do with the thing that is most consistent. If you're looking to create a change in your life, you have to become the person who would have that thing. That's what all these law of attraction and manifestation people are on about to the end of their fucking days till they come bleeding out of the ears. All that fucking means is you have to become the type of person who this would occur for. And it will naturally occur for you because people will look at you and then they'll go, oh, this is the type of person that makes sense to happen for. Opportunities would arrive that wouldn't otherwise arrive by embodying an archetype. Carl Jung was on about this psychologically. Jungian psychology is fucking fascinating, very interesting to me. It's the only psychology worth investigating in my mind because it blends the mystical with the scientific. And so I say all of this to say, late-stage capitalism is killing us all. We're all dying because of it. We all are miserable because of it. I have it really good comparatively, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still miserable. You know, somebody who is truly, truly miserable, who's been through things that I can't even conceive of, would look at me and they would rightly be like, if I had what you had, I wouldn't be bitching about anything. I understand that. The fact of the matter is the world is still miserable and everybody still fears for their life on a daily basis about what could happen at any fucking moment. That is a direct result of late-stage capitalism. So you need to figure out who it is, or who it is even for the moment. You don't have to select them and land on them for all eternity. You just need to pick the characters that you most resonate with and you need to just start embodying them. Just become those people. And then, you know, someone would rightly say, and I think they've got a fair argument here, well, doesn't that mean that they're just programming us to do what they want us to do? Well, maybe. Maybe so. In which case, I would say do what I did and create your own fucking character and invoke that character. And just do it over and over and over again if you're an artist of any kind. You don't even have to put it out there for the world to judge or criticize if you think that people are going to say you're shitty at what you do. You can do it for yourself. That's what sigil magic is all about. Become something else, day by day. Become the thing that makes the change you want to see happen. Fuck all the rest. For me, at the moment, it's Johnny Silverhand, and that's subject to change. It might change because I'm not really a fucking, I'm not that crazy. I'm not going to go do anything that nuts. But it doesn't matter, because if you shoot for the moon, you're going to land among the stars. If you invoke a character that crazy, you're going to do something that's at least crazy enough to make a change. Maybe you can find a fine line where you don't do something crazy enough to get yourself fucking locked up. I encourage it. I am telling you, do this. Play with it. Play with this idea and see what you can do.